It's a cold, bitter night here in the Piedmont Triad. North Carolinians are reeling tonight after back-to-back winter storms. Good evening, I'm Amber Lake. Officials in Greensboro say crews are working day and night to clear the snow from the roads, but it's an uphill battle. Low temperatures bring the risk of refreeze. The city says it received 10 inches of snow, the 5th highest in its history. Throughout this weekend system, the biggest advice has been to stay off the roads, right? That has not changed. State Highway Patrol tells us in the past 24 hours, it responded to more than 1,000 car crashes. It received 1,600 calls for service. Unfortunately, 2 of the crashes were deadly. Those were in Robeson and Rutherford counties. The roads are still slick in some areas this afternoon, late this evening. This afternoon, Winston-Salem told us it plans to open its city offices tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Field crews continue to clear snow from major roadways, but Winston-Salem Transit Authority services remain canceled for tomorrow. All rec centers and parks will also be closed. Trash collection is also suspended. We have live team coverage tonight on the frigid temps and road conditions. Let's start with meteorologist Alex Williams. Alex, when will the warm air come back? We all want to know.
Yeah, everybody wants to know that. I will say, looking at some of the long-term trends, we could see temperatures punch back up, maybe a little bit above average. It'll be something we'll have to watch for sure. But tonight, still weather impact alerts remain in effect through tomorrow morning because it's just going to be dangerously cold. Simply put, tomorrow morning. Bitterly cold, we're talking temperatures falling to around 10 degrees with it feeling more like those single digits out there. We want to avoid the icy roads. You know they're icy, and they're going to become more icy through the overnight as we kind of freeze everything very quickly. Temperatures have already started to drop pretty quickly as we have gone through the evening into the teens in Greensboro, 18. 22 in Winston-Salem, 24 in Lexington, as well as Asheboro, 25 in Siler City. And look, it feels like 7 degrees. So those single-digit wind chills, that makes it, of course, even more insulting to be outside. So if you don't have to be outside tomorrow, you definitely want to try to avoid being outside. Temperatures dropping again to around 10 degrees through the evening. By 10 o'clock tomorrow, we're in the low 20s. Forecast lows, just very cold. I mean, we're talking temperatures dropping into single digits from where we were earlier this afternoon, right around 30. So we didn't warm all that much today, and so it doesn't take much with those clear skies to drop those temperatures. So cold weather advisories remain in effect for most of the Triad, except for our far northern counties. For those wind chills, again, dropping to around single digits. Going to be a very chilly one for us over the next 24 hours or so. And then as we go through the afternoon, we will start to see the wind relax a little bit. Temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s there. By the time we get to Monday evening, we're in more the teens, lower 20s as far as what it feels like. Again, that's what it feels like to your skin. The actual air temperature forecast to be in the upper 30s tomorrow. It might be a bit up there. I think we're going to be more towards around the mid-30s. Remember, snowpack tends to insulate and keep you from getting very warm. So I think temperatures may be around the mid-30s as we go through the day tomorrow. Here's our future cast for us. Lots of sunshine anticipated for our Monday, and that'll stay true into at least a portion of our Tuesday, maybe Monday night. By Tuesday morning, though, watch those clouds really start to move in. We could have some of that fog, some of that thick, dense fog that we get where we have the cold air at the surface, and then that warm air rides up over it and creates some of those clouds. As we go into our Tuesday night, though, tracking a system quickly moving through that could bring a douse of some cold rain for us for the most part. Now, the question is, do we see anything form on the backside of this, any precipitation around? That's when those temperatures will be cold enough to maybe support some light snow. As of now, dry. No, we're not talking an impactful snow. If we saw anything, it would just be a dusting, if we even get the colder air to come in there. So there's your 7-day forecast. Again, that weather impact alert day through the evening tonight into the early morning hours of our Monday. And then we're watching that system late Tuesday night into Wednesday with temperatures moderating a little bit as we go towards late next weekend to weekend. Hey, you know, we'll take the 40s over the 30s any days and definitely over the 20s. Thankfully, those overnight lows getting closer to freezing once again, close to average for this time of year.
I will definitely take the 40s over the 30s. Alex, thank you. Right now, Greensboro has crews working around the clock to clear the roads for those of you who must travel. Snow crews made more progress today. We got some updated numbers in the last hour. The city says all 1,180 miles of Priority 1 roads have been plowed multiple times. 80% of those roadways have been mostly cleared of snow. The remaining 20% are still being treated. Crews began working on Priority 2 roads today and will continue overnight. Trash and recycling collection for Monday has been postponed. The city is still urging all people to avoid travel to allow crews to continue cleaning up those roads. One thing's for sure, Greensboro was one of the hardest hit areas by the winter storm in the Triad. WFMY News 2's Nixon Norman has seen firsthand the snowy conditions outside. Nixon, has there been any progress on the roads with those snowplows?
Oh yes, Amber, there's definitely been a lot of progress. Actually, we're in a neighborhood right now sitting off Lawndale Drive, and of course, Lawndale Drive is about dry as a bone. But you can take a look at this hill above me, and you can see that it is absolutely still covered in snow and all that fell from the sky just yesterday. Now, during our time here, we've spent some time in this neighborhood today with people sledding, people shoveling their driveways. There has been a good bit of traffic on this roadway, but in the last 30 minutes since we have set up here on this road, there has not been a soul drive down it, not one at all. Now, I will say, just for the snow itself on the roadway, it's not fluffy anymore. It's definitely packed down because there have been so many cars just traveling over top of it today, and that's something that actually makes driving on it worse because it is just more likely to become slick as these temperatures continue to drop throughout the night. And that's another thing we've noticed. I can definitely feel the air being a little bit more crisp, a little bit more cool than it was just hours ago. So again, we're running into that rinse and repeat of things melting through the day and then refreezing at night, causing chaos on the roadways. Here, live in a Greensboro neighborhood, I'm Nixon Norman, WFMY News 2.
Nixon, thank you. A couple of school districts have already made the decision to cancel classes or go remote tomorrow. Those districts are Guilford, Randolph, Stokes, Rockingham, Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, Mount Airy City, and Alamance Burlington. Last week, most districts went remote for the whole week, while some canceled classes altogether for a couple of days. The state only permits a certain number of remote learning days or days off for each district throughout the entire school year. The winter weather conditions are bringing lots of changes to scheduled events like the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. The big event is now scheduled for Wednesday at 11 a.m. It's the second time the event had to be rescheduled because of snow. The snow has completely covered every inch of our viewing area, forcing families to hunker down inside their homes. Over in Elon, folks are seeing several inches of snow on the ground. WFMY News 2's Bryce Parker is here to give us a look.
Yeah, Amber, I think the biggest question that we're going to get after this big dumping of snow that we've had this past weekend is, what are these roads going to look like? Well, I've been telling you all afternoon that NCDOT, City of Burlington, Alamance County has been doing a great job of getting those priority roads out of the way, the highway, I-40, other state roads, as well as these main roads. They have been looking good across Alamance County. Earlier, we checked in with Burlington. This is Elon, and I want to show you the threat of refreezing are going to get roads like this. I'm going to step to the side so you can see this. This is Triad Drive, a residential road here in Elon off of Oak Street. These are the roads that are going to give you problems. These roads have not been hit yet. They're still a little bit frozen over. Some of it is snow. Some of it might be ice from our last system that we saw when we were here last week during that big ice storm. This is where that freeze, melt, refreeze process is going to continue as we go through this next week. The temperatures are going to get cold. They're going to stay cold. As Alex told you on Tuesday, probably going to get some more freezing rain as well. It's just going to add to this. So we're going to have to keep monitoring these situations, these residential streets that have not been hit, these side streets that have not been hit. Those are the ones that you really are going to need to keep an eye on. And as always, you're going to have to travel on these roads. So when school comes back, when you have to go back to work, or you have to or when you run out of groceries and have to go to the store, make sure you're taking it slow. Make sure you're keeping an eye out for those icy patches. Reporting live in Elon, Bryce Parker.
Bryce, that road behind you, I'm curious, have you seen a lot of plow trucks since you've been around Alamance County? And if so, are you seeing them more so just on those priority one roads, or are they on those neighborhood roads some as well?
Yeah, so most of the roads that I've been seeing out here in Alamance County have been on those bigger major roads, those priority roads, again, those highways, state roads, main, passes where most of the traffic's going to be. This is kind of a road off of the beaten path a little bit. So again, North Carolina, over 80,000 miles of roads to get to. Again, we're the state with the most percentage of rural roadways. So it's going to take NCDOT, these counties, these cities, these different municipalities it's going to take them a lot of time to get to those roads. So they might not have gotten to these roads yet, or they may have only gotten 1 or 2 passes. So give them a little bit of time. They will get to your road. They're going to get to roads like these here in Elon.
Patience is key. Thank you so much, Bryce. The snow has also caused some cancellations at airports across our state. At PTI, 26 flights have been canceled today, and that number hasn't gone up at all since this morning. That's a good thing. That's much better than what we saw after the winter storm last weekend. As you can imagine, though, the numbers are a bit bigger in Raleigh and specifically Charlotte, where nearly 850 flights have been canceled. One viewer sent us these pictures from PTI today. She said that the roads and sidewalks are in good shape around the airport. Overall, it's been a smooth day for most travelers. The sun thankfully melted some of the snow left on the roadways in our area, but there's still lots of ice left over. I'm even hearing that we may be seeing some rain later this week, which won't be great if we try to melt that ice. Right, Alex?
Yeah, that's right. That's definitely a concern, Amber, I think, as we go through the next couple of days. What are our temperatures going to be at critically? I do want to point out we're not expecting freezing rain. It's going to be cold rain on top of ice, but we're not going to see a freezing rain event. I know that many of us, especially after what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, when we hear freezing rain, we get triggered. Don't worry, we're not expecting a freezing rain event with this one. If anything, the wintry side would be a lot weaker. Now, it wasn't weak as we looked at some of the totals yesterday. The Trinity coming in at the top of the list there, 16.2 inches. Believe it or not, parts of Yancey County got over 25 inches of snow. Can you even imagine what that would look like? I mean, that's above 4,000 feet, but still. Lexington, Davidson County there, 16 inches. Thomasville, 15.5 inches. 14 inches in Denton. Jamestown coming in at 13 inches. 13 also in Randleman. High Point, almost 13, about 12.8 there. And then by the time we get to Archdale, you're still talking double-digit snowfall. 11.5 inches. 11 in Kernersville. 11 in Winston-Salem. 10.3. That would be at PTI there at the airport in Greensboro. Asheboro coming in at 10 and a couple of 8s, as well as 6.5 inches there in Alamance County and Burlington. So we did definitely pick up quite a bit of snowfall. Where does that rank up? Well, it's actually the 6th record there in history. So 6th snowiest day in history is where we ended up with this event. Missed it by a couple points there, a couple tenths for the 5th spot, top 5. But top 10, that's significant when you're talking all of these years. Of course, everybody remembers 2018. So 2026 will be one that we'll remember for a little while, especially those in Raleigh, where they dealt with the dry slot. Yes, they were perfectly positioned to not get snow for the majority of the event. You can see here where we were dealing with that big hole. It did fill in, and the Triad kept snow a lot longer than we were anticipating, which means those numbers start to add up. Plus, we were perfectly positioned to get a bunch of snow as we just kept this fire hose of snow going really through the late evening hours yesterday. And that created some headaches on roadways. I'm happy to report it looks a whole lot better when we look at our current traffic map. The outer loop all green in Greensboro. Over to Forsyth County, everything's looking pretty good as well. Maybe a few yellow, few orange spots out there. People still taking it slow, but those main roads have been cleared for the most part, so it looks really good. Davidson County definitely looking a night and day difference versus yesterday. 285, 85 looking good. 74, 73. Also looking very nice as well. There's I-40 that Bryce was just talking about there in Alamance County, and it's looking good there with maybe some of the secondary roads still kind of getting treated there and being plowed, so that could cause some issues as well. there is our 7-day forecast. So we'll kind of break it down for you. Again, we're still keeping that winter alert, that weather impact alert day through the evening tonight into tomorrow. We are expecting to see black ice as we go through the overnight, that refreezing. We did see some melting. I can tell you, as I was driving around, you could see some of that snow melting under the sunshine. You don't necessarily need temperatures above freezing. It helps, but you don't need temperatures above freezing to get melting. You can just melt snow simply by putting some sunshine on it. And then as we go into our Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures in the mid 40s, low to mid 40s, that's definitely going to help us melt some of that snow. The question is, how much is left by the time we get some of this rain coming through? Because again, if you think about it, you're raining liquid onto a frozen surface, potentially some of that snow left around. That's going to put ice on the top of that and make it even more difficult to clear. And more reasons, of course, why you should be dealing with some of the black ice as we go through the next couple of days there. So that is something to keep in mind as we go into the next couple of days, dealing with some of those black ice concerns. 12 degrees, that'll be a thing of the past. Temperatures, at least overnight, getting closer to average. We need to get up to 50 to be above average. I will say, looking at some of the long-term data there, Amber, I see some 60s in there, maybe.
Do you? Don't get me so excited. 60-degree weather.
That would be a heat stroke for all
It would,
of us.
seriously. We would have to just redo our entire wardrobe.
Yeah, and I mean, so there's the hope that we start to warm things up as we go through the next couple weeks.
Well, and I have a question for you. I know obviously we aren't on the coast, but we have a lot of, homes, summer homes on the coast, and we have family that live on the coast. My brother lives in Wilmington, and he had about 8 inches of snow. And I know Jim Cantori, we had him on the show, and he was in Duck. So what kind of winter weather situation did they end up having?
Well, they almost got 18 inches of snow.
18.
Yeah, so if you think of where Myrtle Beach is, North Myrtle Beach up towards closer to North Carolina, they got it's like 17.7, I think, inches of snow, which is unbelievable. That's more snow than a lot of us got here. Not by much, but still, when you're talking the ocean, I mean, you're looking at webcams and people are sledding on hills instead of going to the beach.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It is, and it's interesting too to compare the coast to places like Raleigh that really didn't get that much. And you were talking about that that dry spot in the map. I mean, how it's kind of crazy how, I wish I had your job sometimes, because it's kind of crazy how the weather works. I mean, we're getting all this snow and Raleigh's just there. I have a friend there who sent me a picture when we were just in the midst of all of ours, and he was like, yeah, we barely have anything. And I was like, wow, that's great.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in the triangle throwing a lot of hate our way when we were getting snow and they weren't. They eventually did fill in and get some snow, but it's just, again, location, location, location. They were perfectly positioned to get into some of the drier parts of the storm. We were perfectly positioned to get into some of the heavier snows that came through, and that's just how the cookie crumbled. I mean, it wasn't anything that anybody did. It wasn't anybody's fault. That's just how it happened.
Interesting. And you had your snowflake tie on today to continue our snow coverage.
Yes, I do have the snowflake tie today. I had the other one on yesterday and this one on today as well.
Oh, perfect. That's so perfect for today. Well, thank you so much, and we'll check back in with you later. Remember, if you have any questions during the snowstorm, we have you covered. You can text 336-379-5775 with any weather question that you have, big or small. Before this storm, we told you that power outages would not be a major concern, and that still seems to be the case. We haven't seen any major outages in the Triad. The only big numbers that we've seen throughout the day have been in western North Carolina, where it's still just a small chunk of the population without power. Duke Energy is asking everyone in the state to reduce energy use tomorrow morning from 4 to 10 a.m. Spokesperson Jeff Brooks says to reduce your thermostat to the lowest comfortable setting, avoid using major appliances, turn off unnecessary devices, and this may be the biggest one for a lot of people, avoid charging electronics in the morning. If you have an electronic car, Duke Energy says to wait to charge it until after the noon. In the snowstorm, all 100 counties in our state saw snow, but some areas got a lot less, including the Raleigh area. Alex just talked about that with us. WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy has the latest on conditions in Cary.
And while the Triangle didn't get hit nearly as hard as the Triad as it relates to snow, certainly still got a pretty good dusting of snow, probably about 2 to 3 inches or whatever. I'm in a little park area taking a walk. And as you can see, boy, it is just plastered with snow. Certainly a pretty picture, but it is it's slow going. I'm taking it slow. Obviously, if you have to get out and about today, whether it's walking or driving, just go slow. That is certainly the message of the day. But it is beautiful. I hope everybody has a chance to get outside and enjoy it. But please, if you do, just be safe. Have a good day. Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
Beautiful, yes, but during the storm last night, there were a few frightening incidents, including a 100-car backup on I-85 in Cary County last night. This picture shows part of that scene. A crash between a car and a semi-truck started it. The highway reopened about 6 hours later. As you heard outside to enjoy the snow, you might ask, why is it so bright outside? WFMY News 2's meteorologist Claire Fry raises our weather IQ by explaining the science behind it all.
Well, have you ever been snowboarding or skiing and been absolutely blinded by the light reflecting from the snow? Or even gotten sunburned from being just on the slopes? Today we're going to talk about how snow reflects sunlight and how it makes winter days so bright and so cold. Let's break it down. You know how when you step outside on a sunny winter day, it can feel extra bright? That's because snow is a fabulous reflector. The scientific term that we use for this is albedo, which basically refers to how much sunlight is reflected by a surface. Think about how in the summertime we always say to wear light-colored clothes instead of dark so we don't get as hot. A dark asphalt road, which only reflects about 10% of sunlight, most of that gets absorbed. This is the complete opposite of fresh snow with its white surface that reflects up to 80% or even 90% of the sunlight that hits it. When sunlight hits the snow, it bounces back into the atmosphere instead of being absorbed by the ground. This reflection process makes winter days feel so bright, especially with that sunlight dancing off the snow. On snowy days, even though the sun might be shining, a lot of heat is being reflected away, which prevents temperatures from warming up as much as they would on bare ground. Additionally, the snow itself often acts as an insulator, trapping cold air near the surface and contributing to even lower temperatures. Snow's ability to reflect sunlight gives winter its brightness, and that's why those sunny, snowy days can also be so blinding, and snowy days will be even colder. Remember to wear your sunglasses and wear your sunscreen this winter. Thanks for tuning into this week's Weather IQ. I'm meteorologist Claire Fry.
With most students in the Triad having the day off tomorrow, we also know a lot of you may go sledding. If you do, it's important to do so safely. Just last year, there was a deadly sledding accident in the Triad. We talked to a local medical director about what not to do.
I think the biggest contributor to these severe injuries are when you're being pulled behind like an ATV or a truck. That can be extremely dangerous. As the sleds can get out of control, it can run into other cars and things on the street. So that's one I would not recommend at all.
Officials also say to ride one at a time unless the sled is specifically designed for multiple people. Over the next few days, it's important to stay aware of ice around your home. Take a look at those icicles outside of a townhome in the Triad. If the sun is shining, there is a good chance that these could fall and potentially injure someone. So, if you have the ability, try to knock them down ahead of time. We also know a lot of you will be turning on the heaters throughout the rest of the week. It's important to use them the right way to avoid any fires. For space heaters, make sure that you only plug them directly into the wall outlet, not extension cords. Keep them at least 3 feet away from anything flammable, like curtains or furniture, and always shut it off before you go to bed or leave the room. In Alamance County, they saw snow totals close to double digits last night. Today is about clearing those roads so folks can get back to work tomorrow. Let's bring back in WFMY News 2's Bryce Parker one more time. Bryce, you've been in Alamance County since yesterday. Can you give us kind of a breakdown of what you saw since the first few hours of the storm yesterday?
Yeah, so it seemed like as soon as we got out here to Alamance County, the snow just kept falling and falling and falling. Like after Guilford County and Forsyth County started to see a slowdown, it seemed like the snow just kept hovering over Alamance. It was very steady, and also the wind was really blowing. So we went from 2.5 inches to 4 inches to 6 inches to almost 9 inches very quickly throughout the night. And even we saw snow totals coming in possibly into almost 1 a.m. last night. Now, today was the day where people started cleaning up their driveways, started to enjoy the snow. We saw a lot of people out on that snowy hill, sledding down, making snowmen, you know, having just a good time with the community, and also just trying to, we've seen NCDOT and Alamance County just trying to clear these roads, hopefully to get most of the snow out of the way, use that kind of sunny, no cloudy day that we had to try and dry up these roads before the freezing, unfreezing, and then freezing again kind of process really started. So today was a cleanup day, but it was also a fun day because, you know, kids won't be in school tomorrow. And then also parents, who knows, they might not be going to work as well. They might have remote days due to some of these icy conditions. Reporting live in Elon, Bryce Parker, WFMY News 2.
Bryce, thank you. He'll have more from Alamance County on WFMY News 2 at 11. That's where we continue our winter weather coverage because of the potentially icy road conditions tomorrow. Cities are adjusting their plans. Both Burlington and Greensboro will not have trash pickup tomorrow. And in Burlington, the city says that there will be no yard waste collection this week as well. Millions of people are under cold weather advisories this weekend as another winter storm hits the East Coast. CBS's Christian Benavides reports.
Another blast of winter weather has left parts of the southeast blanketed in snow. On Interstate 85 in North Carolina, more than 100 vehicles were left stranded after a crash involving a tractor trailer. In Raleigh, officials warned about the potential for frostbite.
Layering is very important, and just making sure that you go inside and take breaks when you can. Let your body kind of warm up again.
Whiteout conditions were reported across the Carolinas, with some areas forecasted to see up to 18 inches this weekend.
This is probably the most snow that I've seen here since 2018, so I think this is going to surpass that.
Just outside of Charlotte, video captured the moment where a train collided with the front of an 18-wheeler. In Tennessee, resident Terry Miles is one of thousands still without power since last weekend's snowstorm.
I've been told this is the coldest and the worst I've ever been in my damn life.
With another round of frigid weather now hitting the south, the Nashville Electric Service doesn't know yet when power and heat will be back for some of their customers.
We're having to dig our infrastructure out from under trees that's froze to the ground.
Flurries and sub-freezing wind chills are being felt in Alabama, Georgia, and as far south as Florida. Light snow fell in Tallahassee. The Sunshine State is seeing its coldest temperatures in more than a decade. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
Well, the snow is giving many across the Triad a chance to make memories and capture them on camera, whether it's with family, friends, or even engagement photos. We caught up with a recently engaged couple in downtown Winston-Salem who decided to take advantage of the snowfall for a photo shoot they'll never forget.
We're close and wanted to come out, and you know, we are recently engaged, though this isn't necessarily an engagement photo shoot, but we thought the snow, close by, excellent photographer, why not?
Why not, right? When you have inches upon inches of snow, this is just proof that when it snows in North Carolina, people really do make the most of it. While the snow may melt, the memories, of course, will not. Everyone's having fun in the snow over the weekend, including our furry friends across the Triad. You all at home have been sending us your pictures all day long, and we've been getting a kick out of them. Say hello to Louie. He's an adorable golden doodle. He was sent in from Climax by Ed Moore. This is a great video. It almost looks like this could be something that just goes back and forth. What's it called? A GIF? One of those GIFs that you send to your friends of your dog trying to eat the snow. Take a look at this next puppy. His name is Conrad. He was actually sent to us by a viewer. I think that we're having some issues showing that picture. Let's show you a Highland cow. How about that? This is a Highland cow out of Snow Camp. Everyone say hello to Dusty. She was sent in by Wendy at the Joe McPherson farm. This is just the cutest thing ever. Honestly, I don't even think that I've seen a Highland cow in the snow before, so this is something special. And take a look at the video sent in by my wonderful husband. These are our dogs. This is our back porch. Obviously, the big dogs are having the time of their lives. That's Benny and Jenny. It was very difficult for us to get back inside. The little one, however, she is in the beginning of this video. At the bottom of the screen, you can't really see her. Very difficult for her to go outside. She was not feeling the cold. She was not wanting to deal with it. The other ones, however, love to come in, just completely covered in snow. Be sure to text all of your fun snow pics into us at 336-379-5775. All right. Monday morning, we're going to continue to keep you updated on road conditions, closures, and delays, both online and on TV. WFMY News 2 is the only station that continues to provide you with nonstop 24/7 streaming coverage right here on WFMY Plus. Stay tuned for WFMY News 2 at 11.